George, what are you doing?
Baking a pie?
Don't be witty, darling. It's too early in the morning.
I'm getting dressed. Go back to sleep.
It's all that banging and rustling.
I'm sorry, dear. I was just taking something from the bureau.
Oh. George.
What?
Why don't you run over to Dr. Stone at lunchtime and have your stomach checked?
There's nothing wrong with my stomach.
It's horrible moans all night.
Well, it's just an advertising agency stomach.
I think you better have it checked anyway.
I will, one of these days. I'll turn over, you gorgeous creature, if you want your goodbye kiss.
You're wearing your new tie.
Well, that's what ties are for, isn't it? To wear.
What's the occasion?
No occasion. I just got bored with the others.
You look very handsome this morning, darling.
I wish I could say the same for you, dear.
As a general rule, I don't go in for snagging Miss America prizes at 9 a.m.
You know, a smart fellow once said that women, like the moon, should come out at night and disappear in the morning.
Monster.
Well, goodbye, dear. Take it easy.
I'll try. Yes?
Miss Nancy, are you awake?
Yes, come in, Kathleen.
The cleaner's here.
Is it Wednesday?
Sure it's Wednesday. Which one of his suits are to go?
The gray one and the blue one. I took them off the hangers.
He hardly touched his breakfast. Miss Nancy. Look what I found in his pocket.
What?
It's a letter.
Put it on the bureau.
It's a female letter. Did you hear what I said? It's a female letter. It's got a bird on it.
Leave it on the bureau. Here you are, Angel.
Angel? Why all this sudden manna from heaven?
Nothing is too good for my manna.
Oh, that's awful, Nancy. You really reached for that one.
I know it, but I couldn't think of anything better.
Well, you certainly are a whiz when it comes to making Gibsons. You have a green thumb.
All of them.
Well, here's to you, dear. My favorite Gibson girl.
Thank you, darling. You always say the nicest things.
Now, what did I say?
It so happens that Gibson girls were the rage in 1910, remember?
Oh, I didn't mean that, Nancy.
Didn't you?
Well, what's the matter? Have I done anything?
I don't know. Have you?
Well, what's all this about?
This.
Oh. How did you get this?
Kathleen found it in one of your suits she gave to the cleaners.
I see. I suppose you read it.
I know I shouldn't have.
No, you shouldn't.
Guess I'm just not the noble type.
Well, it doesn't matter. I should have told you about it before.
George, let's act civilized about this. I don't enjoy playing the corny role of the jealous wife.
You should. You're giving a very good performance.
Well, if you think I'm going to sit by while some little chickadee... George, what's this all about?
It's nothing, Nancy, really.
Who's Chicky?
The venom you women can pack into a simple name. It's funny.
Devastatingly.
But she's not like that at all.
I know, they never are. She's different.
If you're going to take that attitude, there's no point in my telling you anything.
Go ahead and tell me. I'll be very understanding.
Oh, what's the use?
I'm sorry, George. Tell me about it. I'll behave.
Well, it's not very easy explaining this sort of thing to a wife.
Try, George. I'll help.
Well, she's just a kid, Nancy. Younger than our Bill. You know that girl in Ohio you always used to rib me about?
That corn-fed redhead with the bosom you wrote poems to in high school?
Well, it's her daughter.
Oh.
She's a model in New York. Her mother told her to look me up. We had lunch once or twice. I helped her get a few jobs. You know, the kid's grateful.
Yes, I know.
Now, stop that, Nancy.
Is she pretty?
Huh? Oh. Well, yes, I suppose you call her pretty.
Never mind what I'd call her. What would you call her?
Pretty, I guess.
What's she like?
Well, you know what these kids are like, Nancy. Fresh, bright-eyed, skin like babies. Sort of blown up in spots.
Oh, I see.
No, you don't see, Nancy. I know what you're thinking. It's not like that at all.
Isn't it? What's it like, then?
Well, that's what's so hard to explain. It's like having your youth parade before you again. You know, she looks just like her mother. With the same bird-like gestures, the same childish crow when she laughs. It sort of takes you back to a time when life was bright and simple and blossoming. I don't know, it's just something pleasant to grab onto.
I can imagine.
Nancy, I knew you wouldn't understand.
I shouldn't have said that, George. I understand perfectly.
Well, try to, Nancy. It's nothing serious, really.
Why don't you bring her here?
Well, here?
Yes. I'd like to meet her.
Oh, I don't think that'd be such a good thing to do.
Well, why not? She's the daughter of an old friend of yours, and you know, darling, any friend of yours is a friend of mine.
Yeah, but I don't think she'd come. I mean, she'd be embarrassed.
Why should she be? You said yourself it was nothing serious. Bring her down this weekend.
But why do you want me to bring her here?
Because I don't want any sneaking and hiding between us. I want to meet the enemy face to face.
Oh, she's no enemy, Nancy. She's just a harmless kid.
I'd like to see for myself. Maybe you're right. Maybe she's good for you. Maybe you're like that 70-year-old poet who divorced his wife to marry a 19-year-old girl and hung on to the old wife, too.
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
What's so ridiculous? He said he needed the old wife for intellectual companionship and the girl for fuel.
If you don't mind, Nancy, let's leave the fuel out of this.
All right, let's. But you'll bring her next weekend?
Well, I don't know.
If you don't, I'll know it's really serious.
I'll try, Nancy.
Don't try. Bring her.
Oh. All right.
That's fine. Shall we go into dinner?
Well, Nancy.
What?
You'll be kind. I mean, she's really a nice kid.
Don't worry, darling. I'll be very kind.
And then once, Daddy took Mother and me. Or was it Mother and I? I always get that mixed up about the nominative and the objective.
Mother and me, dear.
Well, anyway, when he took Mother and me up to Echo Lake, she showed me that big fat tree where you carved your initials and hers.
The first tree in that batch of oaks by the picnic grounds.
Yes, GK and BW and the cutest heart. Only it was sort of crooked and fat, and it looked more like an apple. And then Mother said...
What is it?
I'm talking too much.
You're doing nothing of the sort. Please go on. I think it's simply fascinating to have your youth paraded before you again.
Gee, this is good. Did you make it, Mrs. Knox?
No, Kathleen. I'm not very good at messing with sweet, sticky things. Won't you have some more, dear?
Oh, no, thank you. I have to watch my figure.
You don't have to worry about that. George has been doing it for you all evening.
Judge, I believe I'll have a second helping.
Do you think you should, darling? You know what banana cream pie does to you.
Another little piece won't hurt me. Would you pass the platter, please, Eloise?
Is he allowed to have it?
Allowed? I'm not a baby.
That's just the point. When a person passes middle age, he should be very careful of his diet. Don't you think so, Eloise?
I'm sure Eloise isn't the least interested in my digestive process.
Why, of course she is. After all, you were almost her father. How would you like to have George for your daddy, Eloise?
Now, stop it, you two. That's the silliest question I've ever heard.
Don't mind George. He's a little touchy about his age, dear.
You're not exactly a pedal-pushing teenager yourself, Nancy.
But you see, darling, I don't try to act like one. Now tell me, where did you get that adorable nickname, Chickie?
Oh, my daddy gave it to me. You see, he always called my mother Bird. And when I was born, he called Mama Big Bird. And I was his little chickie bird.
He must have led a charming life, strictly for the birds.
Oh, you're wonderful.
You're pretty wonderful yourself. I don't wonder George is mad about you.
Oh, he's an angel.
So I've heard.
Well, let's all have a little Kimmel. Might be just the thing.
Oh, that's the liqueur we had for dinner that night. I've been trying to think of that name for ages.
George always goes continental at dinner.
You mean lunch, don't you, Eloise?
Oh, I know. Don't you remember? Oh.
Well, I'll go get the Kimmel.
Have a cigarette, dear?
No. You hate me, don't you?
Oh, what a silly notion. Of course I don't.
You do, too.
No, not you. Your youth.
I can't help it if I'm young.
I know you can't, dear.
Do you think I'd come here if it were anything like that?
I don't know what to think.
I'll go now if you want me to.
What good would that do?
Please don't hate me, Mrs. Knox. You're the only nice people I know.
I won't, dear.
You're such a wonderful person. Why should you hate me? I mean, you've got everything. You're beautiful and smart, and you know so much, and you're so warm and kind and everything, and... Gee, I'm nothing. Around you, I feel like such a baby.
You underestimate yourself. Some babes are very formidable.
People are so funny. They always hate each other. You know, that's why I like dogs so. They're, I don't know, more human. Big dogs never get mad at little puppies.
That's just male dog.
What's so funny?
Oh, we were just talking.
About what?
About male dogs.
Oh, this stuff sneaks up on you something terrible. You need a strong stomach.
You need a strong stomach for lots of things.
Well, that's what my mama always says.
George, why don't you show Eloise the sound from Spavin Hill tonight? It'll be glorious in the moonlight.
Oh, that's a swell idea. We'll all go.
Wonderful.
No, just you two children run along. I don't feel quite up to mountain climbing.
Oh, I won't go unless you do.
Well, George is perfectly harmless. I can vouch for him.
Don't get comical, Nancy.
Well, I want you to go, too.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I've seen it 100 times. And besides, I'd like to go to bed early. I'm a little bit tired.
Well, all right. We can see the tide come in if we leave now. Come on, Eloise.
Won't you come, really? Well, good night.
Good night, dear. I'll see you in the morning.
Stout fellow.
Have fun, darling.
Oh, this is the most beautiful view I've ever seen. Simply. Oh, simply.
Breathtaking, isn't it?
Oh, you poor dear. You must be all out of breath.
No, nothing of the sort. Just a little too much dinner, that's all.
Come, sit down and rest a while.
No, I'm quite all right.
Now, you lean back comfortably. Here, put this around your shoulders.
My condition doesn't exactly call for hospitalization.
No back talk. Oh, there. That's better.
Oh, that Nancy, the conniving devil.
Why do you say that?
She knew I'd be wheezing like an asthmatic old goat by the time I got up here.
Well, don't you worry. I think you're very cute the way you are.
Do you really?
Yes. You're a very nice man.
Sweet are the compliments from a pretty young girl in the ears of an old man.
Oh, you're not so old.
Well, I'm not exactly tottering on the brink of senility, if that's what you mean.
She's a wonderful woman.
Who?
Oh, Mrs. Knox.
Oh,
I wish I'd get to be like her when I grow up.
yes, it's nice that you two have developed such a crush on each other.
Why didn't you tell her we had dinner together last night? I was awfully embarrassed.
Well, wives don't understand that sort of thing.
Well, maybe most wives don't, but she would. Well, she's different.
As you grow older, Eloise, you'll realize that about some things, no women are different.
I won't have dinner with you anymore if you keep it a secret from her.
Look, I wish you two would stop treating me like a little boy who has to have his clothes adjusted for him. What's wrong with having dinner with the daughter of old friends from back home?
Well, nothing.
Well,
I guess.
you guess. But stop leering at me. Good heavens, child, you don't think I have designs on you, do you?
I don't know. Men are funny.
Well, that's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of. Will you please stop that silly schoolgirl giggling?
Oh, now you're mad at me, aren't you? Oh, don't be mad.
Of course I'm not mad.
Well, it's just that you're so nice. I don't want you to be like those other older men.
What other older men?
Well, you know, the ones around where you work and that you meet places. 2 minutes after you've been introduced, they're digging their clammy fingers into your arm.
Did I ever lay a finger on you, clammy or otherwise?
Well, no. No, of course not. Well, you see, that's just the point. Well, you've been such an angel and everything's been so wonderful that I don't want you to spoil it.
Whatever gave you the idea I had any such intention?
You won't, will you?
No, Eloise, I won't.
I can't understand what makes men act that way when they have such wonderful wives like Mrs. Knox.
Maybe it's because nature has planted a craving for beautiful and faraway things in all her creatures. And in men, this longing is pinpointed in a young and lovely woman. Perhaps it's the freshness, the brightness, the unwrinkled newness of her.
Oh, look at the aeroplane.
Yes, you look at it. I've seen an airplane before.
Oh, I'm going to learn how to fly one.
Now, let's see. You told me you wanted to be a cover girl, a ballet dancer, a designer, now an airplane pilot. Don't you want to be a fireman or a locomotive engineer?
I want to be everything. Why do you look at me like that? Oh, you're not mad at me again? Well, then why do you stare at me so?
I'm looking at a girl who once sat in a boat with me on Echo Lake. The moon shone on the waters and the music drifted in from a dance floor in the distance.
Oh, they have awfully corny bands up there.
Maybe now, not then. At least it didn't seem so to me. They played Whispering Pines. It was the happiest moment of my life. This hair touched my face like a kiss. These lips... excuse me, I'm terribly sorry. I guess romance and indigestion don't mix. You know, the knights of old must have had the same kind of stomachs as their horses.
Oh, I think you're very romantic.
Yeah, behind a table at the Stork Club, perhaps, but not here. Let's get out of here. It's getting late.
Oh, it's been a perfectly wonderful evening.
Yes, hasn't it? Come on.
Well, wait, I want to take just one last look. All right, let's go.
Hello, darling.
Hi.
Did you have a nice time?
All right. What's the joke?
Nothing. Just something I was reading in the magazine.
Oh,
Has Eloise gone to bed?
I suppose so.
I like her. She's a marvelous person.
Well, that makes it unanimous. She said exactly the same thing about you.
She did. How nice.
Ducky.
You wanted me to like her, didn't you?
Oh, sure, sure.
George, what's the matter?
Nothing.
What are you so grumpy about?
Well, I don't feel very well. My stomach's been acting up again.
Oh, why don't you take some bicarbonate? That usually fixes you up.
Yes, I believe I will.
George,
What?
come here and sit down.
I don't feel very well, Nancy.
Please, darling, just a minute. Stout fellow.
What's that for?
Nothing. You called me stout fellow, and I'm calling you one back. Now we're even. George,
What?
I have a confession to make.
What sort of a confession?
A couple of summers ago in the Berkshires, I had an awful crush on a trumpet player with goo in his hair.
You did?
Yes,
Well, what happened?
nothing. The goo came off on my fingers.
Well, you old chaser, you. You know, Nancy, it's the strangest thing. The few times that Eloise and I had lunch together and that time at dinner, it was as if I was looking at her through the eyes of that high school boy in Ohio 30 years ago. But tonight, well, she's an absolute baby.
I know.
I felt like rolling up my pants and playing mumbly pig with her or something.
That's the way it was with my musician. I'd dream about souls and harmony, and he'd talk about diminished sevenths and B-flat minors.
There seems to be a chasm between us. They're like people from another planet. They've got a different chemistry inside. I'm sorry, Nancy.
Oh, it's all right, darling. You'll feel better now that you've gotten it out
No,
of your
it's
system.
that banana cream pie. You were quite right. I shouldn't have had any more.
No, darling, you shouldn't. There are some things in life we can only enjoy once. You can't go back for a second helping.